Moldova had a national final, Etapa Națională, something like that.
Close
They had
enough.
they had a very long, lots of 30 songs in like a live audition round, and finally just narrowed it down to 10 songs. All of them performed last night, and then the juries voted, and then the televoters had their say, and then we had a winner. And of course, we got to talk about it. And before we do that, though, let's take a look at those songs real quick as a quick reminder.
Today I wake up while you play cool. While you play cool. I wanna dance with you tonight. You're all so bright. Only you make me fly. With you I feel so high, like a bird in the sky. La 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 la
You got me running. Butterflies in my tummy got me spending all the money on you. Got me, mommy. You got me running. Butterflies in my tummy.
Soarele, soarele, soarele și luna, nocturne, nocturne, nocturne cu luna. Soarele, soarele, soarele și luna, nocturne, nocturne, nocturne cu luna. When love's real, so real, could be the story that begins today, but you'll never know if you throw away something real.
Okay, so those were the 10 songs that were in the running. And by the way, two things. Number one, always big thank you to Mr. Juvici for always putting up those recaps like before they are even done performing. It's amazing. That helps us out a lot. And of course, in Moldova, those who watched the show live, they may have noticed there was a lot of lagginess and crashing going on. So some of these clips are a little laggy, as pointed out. Roy, did you watch it?
I didn't get to watch this show. I only really saw the results because it was a bit too early on the night for me. But I did see all of the... Yeah, I know.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just doing something. No, but I did listen to all of the audition tapes when they were revealed, like the ones who went through. And yeah, I overall think it was quite obvious to see that there was going to be like 4 songs that were standing above the others. And I think overall they made quite a good selection here. Yeah, Moldova.
I think I briefly talked about it on Twitter that Moldova is frequently overlooked by the fans or by the mainstream, and just to surprise us at Eurovision. And one thing was very interesting. They had 3 returning artists in the running in Moldova, and it seems it would be a battle between those 3 returning artists, actually. And Moldova has, the last time I sent a new person was in 2019, actually, interestingly enough. Yeah. But it was a battle apparently then between Aliona Moon, who represented Moldova in 2013 and was the backup singer in 2012. Then Pasha Parfeny, who represented, it's the opposite, in 2012 and was a backup piano player in 2013. And then Sunstroke Project 2010 and 2017. Best result for Moldova, yet a 3rd place, although they got rid of one of them. I mean, they didn't get rid, he left the band. So those ultimately actually ended up battling it out. Pasha Parfeny came first with the juries, 12 points. Aliona Moon came second with 10 points, and Sunstroke Project third with 8 points. Then the juries came in, they gave 7 points to Aliona Moon, 10 to Sunstroke Project, and then 12 to Pasha Parfeny, which means Pasha won and will go back to Eurovision after 11 years with the song Soarele si Luna. And we got to talk about this first. By the way, the other act that was just even in the contention there was Soarele Osuianu, the fourth song of the night, who came fourth and got third with the televoters. So it was basically those 4 acts that
Beautiful.
I know, right? Hey, I tried. The ladies. So those 4 were the only acts that were really in contention here, clearly. So let's talk this through, everyone in the chat and us as well. But let's go. You had first, Roy. Your thoughts on Pasha Parfeny winning in Moldova?
Yeah, I think it's the right choice. Like Sunstroke Project, it was just a bit too cringy, a bit too like, yes, it's nicely produced, it's fun, but it just wasn't as good as Hey Mama was, or even as good as Runaway was. Same kind of goes with Aliona Moon. I think Oh Me was an incredible ballad, and I think this was just a bit too repetitive, just a bit too much of the same thing going on. While she is a good performer, I will give her that.
Beautiful voice, yeah.
100%. I would rather see her come back next year. Although I wouldn't mind having a new artist either, because I always like
everyone. At least every few years, give us a new one. I know.
Exactly. And usually I'm not the biggest fan of returning artists, but I think Pasha Parfeny's song this time around is very much different than what he did the other time around. So I always applaud that when they just go for something totally different than what they did before. And yeah, he overall performed it very well. So I'm very curious to see what they will do with it, because knowing Moldova, they'll stage the living hell out of it, and it will look amazing, and they'll go through to the final yet again, while everybody says it's not going through. And yeah,
it sucks. And then they get second in the televote.
And then I'm like, told you so.
Told you so. I cannot wait to say that again. Now, so no, I went into the show yesterday actually blind. I had no idea. I didn't watch the songs. I did not know what was going to happen. So that was my first impression, and I watched and I was like, it's Pasha. Like, it would be silly picking anybody else at this point. I agree with you. As much as you want to like Sunstroke Project, it seems a little like, let's try the same thing again, just switch up a little, but it became a little, fabricated almost. And I just didn't think it wasn't. I mean, I even called it Yummy Mummy or Yummy Mommy. I'm like,
it's just a bit too silly.
Yeah, it's good. And
like last time was silly, but it worked.
Yeah, it seems a little bit forced on this one. Didn't feel natural. Aliona Moon said she has the most beautiful voice, but I will say, because I know there was some hype around, like, I didn't share that. The song to me was bland. I was like, I was bored by it, and I don't think this would have had the impact at Eurovision. Pasha certainly has the most impactful song, and this, as you pointed out, has all the potential to have an amazing staging. It is mysterious, it is dark, it has a very unique feel and vibe to it, and that is what you want. You don't want to just blend in, you want to stand out, and I think Pasha will stand out. And that's also very interesting. Oops, that was actually not the comment I wanted to get. It just moved up. This was the one I wanted. Fun fact, Parfeny is Sunstroke Project's first singer. Yeah, so when the band first got together, Pasha Parfeny was the lead singer, but he left before he had even before 2010, right, when they performed at Eurovision. I knew that, actually.
Interesting.
So, it's Moldova, the music scene can be so big, right? It's a tiny little country. So if that would have been, again, Roy's Moldovan National Final, you would have picked Pasha as well?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I mean, it's just a good song, and like you hear it now in this potato studio filmed on another potato, and it just doesn't look that great or sound that amazing. But if you hear the studio version, it's a really, really good song, and we all always underestimate them just because the quality in the selection might not be as good as we're used to. But then when you get to Eurovision, when everything is the same quality, they always outshine them. So
yeah, I'm
excited.
Moldova is so good at Eurovision. I mean,
yeah, the best.
Yes, they flop every once in a while. Like even a song that was highly unpopular, like 2019, when they brought back the Sand Lady, right? Even then, they were this close to qualifying because they make it work. So,
Exactly.
we don't have many ethnic songs yet, except Spain and France, maybe. Also, now Sunstroke Project didn't win because now Malta's The Busker won't be overshadowed with Sunstroke Project. I think that's a good comment. First of all, the ethnic sound certainly can work in Moldova's favor, and it's not even comparable to Spain because it's a very different ethnic sound. So it's not like they cancel each other out. And I am glad now that they point out, because I'm a big fan of Malta this year.
Same.
Are you? I'm like, I don't know why I didn't watch the national final or any of the songs before the national final. And I'm neither. Why people are poo-pooing on all this? This is a fantastic song. I
love it too.
Yeah,
it's very solidly in my top 10.
Yeah, I haven't done a top 10 yet, but I can see it being in there easily as well. I mean, there's still song music to come, right? But we shall see. But yeah, so of course, let's look at it. Moldova, very important to point out, is in the, again, this is subjective, but in the difficult semi one in the second half. They don't have their buddies Romania there, so but they've done it without Romania. Obviously, they don't rely on them anyways, because you see the track record. So everyone in the chat, and Roy, of course, as well. As of right now, what's your feeling? Is Moldova through to the finals? Yes or no? Roy?
I don't think this is as clear as Serbia, because the heat is quite strong. But knowing Moldova, knowing they will elevate it, just kind of already trying to envision how the staging will look like, I think yes.
Okay. The chat says yes, 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 no, obviously, yes, yeah, yes, 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 yeah, no, yeah. So I think 9 out of 10 say yes.
Interesting. Didn't expect that many.
I am not surprised, because I will agree with the majority here. Just based on track record alone, Moldova just know how to stage it. And if anything, Pasha's song could potentially have a hard time getting passing the jury hurdle, because I could see some juries. But since we don't have them, I feel like this is such a good televote song, because televoters often like that kind of music. Yeah. I see this one actually flying through. But it's tough, because this right now, not even like going for each country, just other vibe right now. This is indeed a competitive.
Incredible.
Yeah, because some of the countries that you didn't think would delivered. Yeah. Right? They will, but others, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make it. Not that I'm going to talk about your country, Roy, here, but it is definitely going to be a little bit more interesting. Any questions about Moldova? At ESC United in the chat, of course. I like that Seluna is ethnic, but not in the typical way Moldova makes ethnic entries, rather than upbeat and goofy, like Subseat Soups, and have this dark, foreboding feel. I think that is a very good comment, because it is a very, it's ethnic. We already agree all of that. But it has, besides that, it's not just ethnic. It has a very unique vibe. Like, it will create an emotion that some songs are just like, there, it takes you out of the lineup. We don't know who's going to perform before or after Moldova, but I feel like that alone will set itself apart. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. It's also the type of song that we've seen it in a national final of like Estonia before, like a very haunted, like spiritual kind of song, even nearly. So I can definitely see other countries vote for it as well. So yeah, just a good selection.
Sina's asking, the song could do a shum in the final, Ukraine 21. I will say the songs are very different in vibe and feel. I understand the ethnic part of it, but I think Moldova cannot count on, because it's a very different vibe and feel. So I think they need to embrace more the darker vibe of the song, while Shum had more the beat and the excitement. It goes really fast and gets your heart pumping. This song does not have that particular vibe to it. But can you see the comparison? Could you see that happening to Moldova?
Honestly, no. No, because like Ukraine was a really, really, really well produced, like just a techno banger. It was just amazing. And this leans more towards the pop side. Like it feels a bit more like pop with like ethno banger direction in that, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't think it stands out that much that it could do a Shum. It will do decently well, but I think in the finals it might struggle to get points with the juries.
Well,
like
here's a question for you, because if
Okay.
anything, I could more compare to France of last year. Fulham was also more of a darker beat. You think it could be more hit or miss there as well? Like people really like it, and then the vibe at Eurovision just is not coming together.
I think it was a bit different though, because I get the comparisons, but I just really trying to remember last year's song now from France.
The guy with the 3 girls, Fulham?
Yeah, I remember the staging and whatnot. I don't know. I just, in general, that song just kind of fell a bit flat with the staging, and it was a bit more towards the rocky side of the spectrum. True. And this is a bit more towards the jumpy up and down party vibe. So I described it very well, I think.
Yeah,
so I think it just has a bit more broad appeal than what Fulan had.
Fair enough. One more question here. I don't see you say Moldova has always a surprise. I was surprised to always sing good songs, good staging, good singer. That's exactly what we're saying, and we're saying that people always see Moldova as a surprise when they do well, and we're saying people continue to overlook Moldova because they have such a good track record, especially for God knows how many years. Yes, they had the boo-boos in between as well, just like any country. But for the most part, they've been fairly consistent, especially with the kind of resources and budget that they have. Granted, in previous years, they've gotten support from Russia, which, obviously not going to happen now. But still, they're still being creative. So I am very, very hopeful about Moldova.
Yeah, like last year, people were laughing at me when I made my reaction video to the song, and I said, this is definitely qualifying. People were literally laughing at me, saying, this is no way qualifying. It sounds way too old. It's not good enough. And I was like, just wait and see. Moldova's going to qualify. And I told you so. They qualified and did incredibly well.
Yes, absolutely.